Hey guys, so for these workshops, we're talking about data, and what we're going to learn is how to use more sculpture photography. I think photography is a more correct way how to create it, maybe, but it's kind of like a performative, sculpture wise way how to do it. So I actually don't know if you guys know what data is, but data, I think it's the most exciting thing that happened like to the art world in art history, perhaps, and nobody talks about it. Everyone goes like, I don't know, I don't understand why it's not known. If for some kind of reason, it's very, for me, it's the most essential art stream in the last century that happened, because Dada was the revolution of the artist. It was the movement that disrupted everything and that created this new atmosphere for artists to discover and play. And like, this is Dada is actually the reason why we are not scared of anything that says robots or having no imagination or being replaceable, because Dada was the proof that we're not. And at least that's how I experience it within the art scene and in the art world. And it's this beautiful, beautiful movement which maybe lasted for 5 years and then was completely moved to the side. So it has everything to do with Duchamp, Marcel Duchamp. You need to know this guy in order to, because yeah, he's just fantastic. Um, in my belief, he is the guy who created the fountain. So he took the man's toilet and put it on the side and put his signature on it and said, and what's next? So imagine yourself in the 20s, and within the 20s in art or in history, there was a lot of like insecurities. The wars just ended. It was like the First World War beginning, like the Second World War was kind of coming up afterwards. We invented photography, which was kind of like making artists go into crazy ways of like trying to keep existing as painters and as architects, and as like we kind of felt a huge threat, let's say it like that. And I'm really minimizing the thing to make it understandable for you. And then yeah, we are making these beautiful saloons of art, and there's all these fancy people standing there like, oh, but the world is such a wonderful place. I'm like, oh, we have so much richness and we have so much this and we have so much that. And look at this bouquet. It's eternalized on the wall. That's kind of how it happened. And the funny thing is, I went last week to Christie's and I was standing in the middle of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, Duchamp, thank you. Absolutely. And I was like, imagine yourself the hypocritical world that they were living in. Because these people were ignoring what was actually happening in the world. And at the same time, we do not want to see the war, and we do not want to see the hunger, and we do not want to see this awfulness. And many of these artists that were actually creating arts, they kind of came back from the war and they were like, I like, my soul, my entire being is shattered. It's shattered in pieces. And you want to make me paint flowers and half naked women as if that's the most important thing in this world. So this is kind of like the vibe. And all these people are standing there like, yeah, we have champagne and money, so we're good. Um, and we want to see flowers. We do not want to see and hear about the other things. And so what Duchamp did, he was invited to one of these salons and he witnessed this kind of whole scene. And he was like, what am I gonna do? Because this like, no, Dada is pure rebellion. Okay, I love this guy. He's amazing. Like what he meant in history, it's Jesus was something, and then you have Marcel Duchamp in my mind. Um, but then so you have this guy who just goes to the toilet and goes like, I can't do that. I just can no longer like participate in this. So he asked for a screwdriver, like the water thing to detach the toilet. He picks up the toilet, dirty and everything, because now you've seen the cleanup version, but back then that was not the cleanup version. That was like completely covered in pee and smelly and disgusting. And yeah, so he disrupted it kind of the wall, and then he put it in the middle of the exhibition on the socle. And the socle as the image that used to be used for representing gods, by the Greeks, or for representing these heroes and people who are like elevated and monuments. And now you have a toilet, a male's toilet on the socle. So imagine what that meant. And this is the best thing of it. He wrote on it, moet. I don't know why that was the case, but anyway, he wrote that down. And it was for the first time, I think, in ever for artists, or at least especially since the French Revolution, that artists went like, oh my God, finally, we're done with the flowers. Hallelujah. So yeah, huge celebration, and artists actually started to have fun again within art and creating what they're needing to create and wanting to express. And we were all kind of like, but yeah, like you have your pictures, like go take your picture. We have art. We have something to say. And that's really the moment in art history in these kind of upcoming years in which we started to express. And then the Second World War happened. I think that's also kind of the reason why Dada was kind of like shattered. And then after the Second World War, we had this opening in order to be ourselves and talk about world problems. And this is kind of what changed the whole perspective of an artist. And this is also why it's so complicated for so many people to understand what the title artist means today. So contemporary artist, in contrast to what it used to be, because in the past you used to be a painter, you used to be a sculptor, you used to be and those were kind of like documenting and creating universes. Or you used to be an architect or a product maker, but those were not like, designers did not really exist back then. They were just like making products, but and then you got the artist kind of product designers, because I still like to get really elevated, high quality sculptural products. But after the Second World War, we could talk and say, but we have a problem. And I do not I notice even today that people do not understand how important it is that someone says, but hey dude, we have an issue here. Wait, what are you going to do about that? I don't have the power to do that, but there is an issue. And I'm not willing to go and scream and sit with like, and like be angry and scream and say like, fix my problem. I want to make you aware of where the problem is. I want to show it to you. I want to like smash your face in it. And I want to like make you grow, because just saying that there is a problem and not really giving a solution, but I'm also not really giving the solution. I'm actually presenting the multitude of this problem. And that even like looking left and right, it's no longer the solution. I need you to see the 360 perspective here. That's what artists started to do. And this all came from Dada. And Dada, it's why it's called like that. It's because of the baby language. It's because a baby has the problem and goes like, oh, but you know what? I have a red cube, and I have a blue cube, and then I have a yellow cube. And then if I put them on top of each other, I have a building. Is that not fun? And so these artists, or this stream of artists, they started playing and they started discovering the world again as a child. And that's just absolutely marvelous. So this is just the introduction, which is already like the longest video I've made so far. So what we're going to do in this workshop is we're going to use photography for it, to document what we're doing, to document, and I'm going to teach you actually how to play again and think and observe the world as this child who is just seeing a multitude of problems, because that's what it is, and goes like, but if I put this together, I get something new. It doesn't need to be functional. I don't need to do anything with it, but I just created something that is new. And I'm going to try it, and maybe it's a disaster, and maybe it's fun. But just the aspect of having this option, it's just mind-blowing. Like mind-blowing. So yeah, all you're gonna need for this is your phone or your iPad, so you can actually make the picture, and that's it. You do not need any other tool. I'm gonna re-invite you to play and then make a picture of it, and to get conscious of that play that a child naturally plays, and nobody needs to teach it, even though I do think that children are no longer like automatically getting into it because they forget what boredom is. But you kind of need to be bored in order to get into this vibe. But yeah, it's an amazing practice. So I'm gonna invite you to take on this course and reopen your world and play like a child and get into Dada. Yeah, so as a side note to this, and I think that's also why I see him as one of the most important people within the art scene. At the moment he died, it was 68, and it's actually known to have been the reason for the massive cultural protest in Europe. And this is the moment when people started saying, but you know what, we are done with industry. We are done with the living situation and this constant fear of machines and like things and beings taking us over and being structured and mobilized. And this is Marcel Duchamp. The moment he died, Paris went into protest and everyone else followed after that. And it's the first cultural protest ever happened in the whole universe that came after this one, after his death. So this is really important to understand, because before that, all our revolutions were about politics and stuff like that. This one is about culture, about nature, and we're still doing that today. So very, very interesting guy to research, very, like, massively. Anyway, this is it. Good luck, and excited to see you in the next video. Bye.